All right, so good day, guys and girls out there. As you know, Stampy and Ranga, which is myself and Daniel here. We have this podcast, and we have had a couple episodes so far, but we are looking forward to doing a lot more. But some of the feedback that we've got so far is like getting to know your host. So this is going to be a special episode of getting to know us, and we are just going to bounce back and forth a few questions. I mean, we've known each other for a very long time. We're tipping 35 years on that, even more perhaps. And so we have been through some highs and lows, definitely. So this is a bit of a tuition for all our viewers out there. So welcome and enjoy your podcast for today. So all right, well, let's start off. We'll go back to our soccer days. I mean, like this is a long time ago where we both played for the Colo Cougars soccer team.
Cougars.
Colo Cougars back in time. That was kind of the district that we were in as we were growing up. And so so yeah, let's just talk about that. Like that's where we first met, I think it was, Daniel, yeah?
Pretty much, maybe primary school at Kermon Public School, but yeah, I think through that we then ventured into soccer, and I remember you were goalie. But how did that eventuate? You were the fastest runner, and they put you in goalie.
That's right. It's actually been an ongoing conversation and a funny one, really, because like I was doing well at athletics at the time, and I kind of did soccer in my off season. You know, you're only really young, but you still have an off season, right?
That's it.
But yeah, I was probably one of the fastest runners, along with yourself there, Daniel, on the team. And the coach of the team, her son was on the team, and he wasn't the best runner. And so then the idea was to put everyone that was faster than him in goals, so he didn't look so slow, I guess.
Get rid of the threat.
Get rid of the threat, even though you're on the same team. It was that you have to go in as goalkeeper because you're beating my son. And
at least you got to play every game. You weren't on the bench.
I wasn't on the bench. I was in every game, and I'm very thankful, actually. I mean, I ended up winning for the least amount of goals scored against me.
Yep.
Because I just stood there and the ball literally never really came to me. Because the rest of my team, including yourself, Daniel, they were a really good team. We ended up winning, but I won the goalie award for the least amount of goals scored against me. I think it was one goal the whole year, if memory serves, but it was very smart. I won this big trophy, one of my first big trophies ever. And but yeah, it was very funny to think that like the fastest runner got set.
Have we got a photo of that? Can we put a photo up?
I
remember your sky blue long sleeve shirt. Herman's tires written on it.
Yeah, I do have that somewhere.
Let's put it up.
Yeah, we'll have to grab it. So what do you remember from the soccer time yourself, Daniel?
Same sort of thing. Yeah, just I think I had a bit of a rivalry with the coach's son as well. I think I was slightly better than him though, and he was unable to hide that. He couldn't. But yeah, the great times. I remember the great times. I remember one thing that vividly sticks in my memory was I remember we had to wear black armbands because there was a young guy. I can't remember his name, but he was killed out on Bellsliner Road.
Right, I remember.
I think 2 or 3 nights prior to our Saturday game, and that actually really stuck with me because I don't think I'd witnessed death prior to that. We were only 10, 11, maybe
I know, it was
younger.
Confronting, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember having to wear this black armband, and yeah, that really stuck with me. That's one, I suppose, on a bad side that stuck with me.
Yeah, it was definitely an unfortunate time, but we were too young to really understand that. But then it did actually teach me, whenever you do see a black armband, say you're watching TV or any sport, then that's what that symbolizes. So anyone that's wondering out there, that is what it symbolizes. It means that there's someone close who has come to misfortune at some stage, whether it be natural or not. Then that's a sign of memory and condolence as well.
That's right. I do remember, it's a bit of a flex here, but I remember I scored a hat trick in the grand final against my home suburbs team, and there's a photo of that with all the boys lifting me up. I'm drinking a mug, and I remember the opposition's coach coming up to me and saying, "Hey, you need to play for us. You live in this suburb. Why are you playing for this? Why are you playing for Colo? You need to be playing for us."
I remember that because you lived in Glossodia, but then Colo was like another suburb sort of thing, but you played for us, so you would go to school with your competitors, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. So they were good times, but yeah, just great memories. Where you remember when you were a kid, and remember some of the guys we played with, Keith Amor and
Yeah.
David Reichard, were they in?
Yeah, Ranga was there. Spicy was there somewhere.
Yeah, Spicy too. Yeah.
Yeah, all of us kids growing up, like it was either soccer or basketball or athletics. I mean, that's just how it was. Western Sydney,
Yeah.
you know, that's just how it was. You just same players, different discipline, different sport.
That's right. Yeah. So
Yeah, it was awesome.
what about athletics days? They were good days too.
Well, yeah, it's absolutely awesome. I mean, like, one of the things I want to talk about is one of the first times, actually, the first time I went overseas anywhere was to New Zealand.
Yes.
And a lot of us
Trans-Tasman tour.
New Zealand stays pretty close, and we are very competitive as well. But we went on a Trans-Tasman tour, which our viewers at home may not know that, but like Trans-Tasman, obviously, it's pretty obvious, Australia versus New Zealand.
Yep.
And then also, so we went to an athletics carnival over there in the Trans-Tasman tour. So there was a group of us young athletes that went over there, and me and Daniel were over there together. So yeah,
we had some good times there too. So
what do you remember about that? It's a long time ago.
One thing I do remember was another. Well, I don't know why I keep bringing up the bad points, but I was had a girlfriend at the time, and back when we were 11 or 12, yeah, when you had a girlfriend, you just talked to them less. That's how that ran when you had a girlfriend of that age. But she decided to break up with me for another guy on the tour. It was a little bit awkward. But,
yeah. And what was his name? What was his name again, Daniel?
Luke. I'm not going to say his surname. He was also one of our arch enemies whenever we
that's
competed
right.
against him.
That's right.
Yeah, and so yeah, it was a double blow because he's left me for my arch enemy.
You started dating our elite competition.
That's right.
In a remote area, which we all stayed in the same complex. That was very thoughtful of, was it Joanna?
That's right. That was her name.
I have it written down.
Years of therapy have helped me get through this.
Yeah.
But I remember sitting on the back seat, and you and all the other boys were going, "Don't worry, there's plenty of other fish in the sea." And I'm just like, "But I wanted that fish. I wanted that fish."
I remember that. That was such a and that was exactly what it was. It was just like seats on the bus. It was like its own little sitcom of some sort. It was just like, I wanted that one. Oh man.
But yeah, I remember when we were there, we had to go and meet with live with another family for a night. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. Yeah, that was unreal, actually. Yeah.
I think they come and picked us up in their family car.
Yeah, that's right.
Took us to their home, showed us how they lived. And yeah, 12 years old. Can you imagine doing that, allowing your 12-year-old kid to do that these days? That's
I know.
That's unheard of.
You jog on my memory now, because I actually went with a family over there, and obviously they were another sporting family. It wasn't just some random family. It was like our competitors over there.
Yeah.
I remember going to their place there, and they had a bit of a property there, and their little hobby besides athletics was archery.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and so at a young age, they were just handing these like bow and arrow around, and then we'd go and learn archery. This is the first time I'd done anything like it at the ripe old age of 12 years old.
Yeah.
And now I'm in a foreign country, don't know this family. I'm walking around with a bow.
Here you go, 12-year-old.
It was a great idea, and I'm so thankful for that, because when I first went on that trip, I didn't really know what we were going to do.
Exactly.
I really didn't. I remember going to a theme park at some stage.
Oh, but, I remember that.
Yes. It's called Rainbow's End.
I can't remember the name of it. Yeah.
I think that.
I remember going. Yeah.
If you've got any New Zealand listeners out there, I think it's called Rainbow's End. I think.
Yeah. Send us a message. Yeah. If it's still around. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be somewhere. But no, that was a great trip, and we did really well, and we met a lot of cool people. I mean, like, this kind of is a bit of a segue really to one of our friends here. Do you remember Nathan Conroy at all?
Yes, I do. That's not yes.
Well, if
In
if you're
fact,
listening out there, by any chance, Nathan Conroy, then yeah, let us know, sort of thing. I mean, like that was one of our enemies, but then we also became great friends, as a lot of people do in young sports. I mean, I've got him written down here,
it
and
was a
so
competitive enemy, arch nemesis on the field, but yeah, off the field we were great mates. Yeah,
yeah, that's what it was. I mean, for our viewers out there, like both myself and Daniel, like that's just how we met each other with being rivals
yeah.
on the
You and
field.
me were arch rivals on
That's
the
right,
field,
we were arch rivals, and then
but best
like
mates off. So
yeah, that's it, best
yeah,
mates off. I mean, like also with the relay team that we created, which was an unstoppable force, and I may as well continue on with that. Like we had a relay team there, like state relay team for the Caradron Bilpin Athletics Club, and we had a few wins there, didn't we, Daniel?
I think I was there for 3,
That's
but I
right.
think you went on for a 4th.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we
Yeah.
had great dynamic, great energy together. Myself, Alicia James, Joanna Fisk, and yourself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And I think 1 year, correct me if I'm wrong, we have Yasmin Carter as well.
I think they dropped somebody, maybe Joanna, and then unless that was the 4th year, and the 4th year, I think.
Oh, between those three girls, then yeah, they did swap out. I think, yeah.
Yeah, and but we won 3 years in a row, gold medal.
Oh, I've got them in my cabinet somewhere. That's my cabinet there, but
Yeah,
they'll be in there somewhere.
yep, yeah.
Pretty,
I've still got mine. I think in there somewhere, in there somewhere. But
yeah.
I remember I wasn't making the times, so I got dropped from the team.
That's right. Yeah.
And then the 4th year, I can't remember whether you guys won again or whether you bombed out. You just didn't have that same dynamic. We had
Yeah,
great
that's
energy.
right. I think yeah, the last time I know we didn't win that last time because
Yeah,
we had a ring in and then yeah, we didn't perform as well, and I was kind of devastated because we were on a roll. Like I remember that even the first time that we won by a long way, and it was
yes,
just
yeah,
like our dynamic was just like spot on. We knew each other so well.
yep,
That's what a relay team sort of represents as well, isn't it?
exactly.
Working together.
You still have to be fast, but you still need that. You need to communicate and have that link together
Yeah,
for a
well,
relay team.
that changeover period, where the baton is changed, like you only have a certain distance there, and you got to not slow down, but then like catch up, like speed, or like you got to be on the move, So
Yeah, we just had
yeah,
it. We just had it.
we had it down pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty happy with
So,
that.
tell me a bit about your career. When you had your when was your first race, real competitive race? I suppose that you won, and you thought, I'm gonna pursue a career in mountain biking. What was the turning point for you there?
Well, I mean, it was pretty quick, really. I mean, like I was riding with a few guys in the area, and one of our friends out there, Chris Spoonser, if you're listening, g'day. But yeah, he was a cross country rider, and he saw me on my mountain bike and kind of riding around in the local area. Not really together really, but I had a mountain bike, and we just got talking one day, and he said you should go to a race, and I really didn't have any idea what was going on, so I went out to Yarramundi.
Yep.
There's a little area in Western Sydney there, and in Hawkesbury district. Went out there and did a race there, and I ended up winning my first race that I entered there.
Yeah.
And so I was totally chuffed with that. It wasn't a very competitive, right? Well, it was my first race. I didn't know really
Exactly.
what
Yeah.
was going on, and then I won that first race, and then they, like the organizers of the event, straight away said, there are bigger events around, so you should probably go to them, And so like I didn't know at the time, but I actually beat some good guys that were already competing for that in my category. So
Yeah.
yeah, it just kind of snowballed from there. I just went to some bigger races and kept doing well.
Yep.
So I just kept going to races. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. I had a very short-lived mountain bike career myself, as you were aware.
I've actually got that written down here, Daniel.
I didn't do too well, mind you, but I was a lot better at cross country, if anything. But
Yeah. So tell us about your first mountain bike for a start, then your first mountain bike race.
my first mountain bike was an Apollo Cheetah, and I I remember saving up, buying a set of Marzocchi Zoke forks, suspension forks. And I think it wasn't my first race because I think I'd had a few at Yarramundi first, but we had one at Mount Victoria, and I think that was a fairly big race. And I remember you and me sort of pushing our bikes up the hill, and we were talking to a guy, and I can't remember the guy, but he had a hot chili, Apollo hot chili.
Oh, yeah.
And fully sponsored.
Yeah. I think I know the guy, yeah.
Wasn't Miles Davis, was it?
No, Miles Davis was probably there though.
Yeah.
He was just started riding for Trek around that time.
Okay.
Yeah, he had a good result overseas, and then he started riding for Trek. I think that was right about that time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember walking up the hill. I'd borrowed this motorbike armor off my mate, and had some bike shorts on and this weird tank top thing. And when I've found the photos have surfaced recently, and never to be serviced, never to be seen by the public eye. But I just think, what the hell was I wearing? What?
I remember thinking the same thing, actually. I mean, I didn't really have any sort of style as well. I think I had a moto jacket and I was wearing basketball shorts, and then some, because my brother was doing some floor sanding as like a young apprentice there, and he had some knee pads that you use for floor sanding.
Yep.
So I thought that there's some knee pads. I've heard about these wearing a mountain bike. So I had floor sanding knee pads in my first couple of races there. And yeah, that was my get up anyway. But
yeah. But I remember having absolutely no form, hadn't won any races, and asking this guy who had sponsors, "How do you get sponsored?" And he's like, "Well, you actually have to win some races, mate." Here's this weirdo with motorbike armor on. Shortly after there, I probably quit mountain biking, but I just didn't have the no fear attitude. That was I just didn't have that. So
it's all part of the But I remember that, and you had the moto armor on with the shorts on. I think you had some tennis shoes on. Like everything was kind of not exactly right.
Yeah.
But that's how we all start. That's how we all start. I mean, I used to race in Dunlop Volleys, which is just like a recreational shoe, which is sometimes used in tennis, and then a lot of roofers use those shoes because they have a lot of grip on roofs and things like that.
As a carpenter, they're great on roofs.
Yeah, exactly. So
I need to talk about the price of volleys these days, though. If you're listening, Dunlop, listen in. They started off, they were like $15 a pair, but now they've become fashionable. You can buy them from, trendy shoe shops, and they're like $60, $70 a pair. Big up to Big W though. You can get them there pretty cheap still though.
I'm gonna have to buy myself a pair now, but yeah, it's just the ultimate all-terrain shoe with no safety whatsoever. Oh no, I correct myself. It had the plastic flap that went over your toes.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, and once that ripped off, it had a bit of ventilation.
Yep.
Going, yeah. That was.
You can actually buy steel cap volleys as well.
I've heard of this. I have heard of this.
They are super uncomfortable. I wouldn't advise.
Yeah, well, the steel cap is greatly outweighs the shoe itself.
They're not balanced. They're not balanced well. Tell me a bit about your family life, early growing up, and how was that for you?
Yeah, it was good, man. I mean, like both my parents were school teachers, so then they tried not to sort of bring that school teacher attitude home, although it did kind of rise here and there as it would. I mean, parenting, it's very similar, I feel. And then, but yeah, like a lot of my upbringing was revolved around sports. So, like we've already touched base on already a little bit, like playing soccer and then athletics, and then basketball. I used to love basketball, I really did. And then I basically myself had to choose between playing basketball or then race mountain bikes. And so there was a time there where Hawkesbury Jets we were.
Yeah, I was a part of that.
Jets. I think they still exist, actually. I think they do.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, and so I used to play for Hawkesbury Jets. Both of us did.
Yeah.
And then so there was actually a Hawkesbury Jets basketball competition, and I had a mountain bike race that same weekend, and I chose the mountain bike race over the basketball team.
Yep.
And to a massive degree, I regret that. I mean, although As we probably know, I went on to like compete at a high level in mountain bike racing, but the team, I let down the team,
Yeah.
and I felt that I let down the team, and so like, we weren't the best team, the Hawkesbury Jets, let's admit it, but at the same time, like the team needed me, and then like mountain biking, my discipline is it's one person only.
Exactly.
It's just you versus the clock. I mean, obviously you have competitors, but it's you versus the clock. And then I chose that over being with my team, and I regretted that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I regretted that.
Sometimes though, you need to pick. It's maybe a selfish decision, but you need to pick whether is this going to pay off for me or is this going to pay off for me.
Well, that was kind of it as well. But like at the time when you're so young, I mean, I just enjoyed mountain biking that much that I did that.
Yeah.
And then I guess it was a bit selfish that I'm not playing for the team, But then by some coincidence, then I was then playing from the bench
Yes.
in basketball. So like I was
Maybe
then.
you had a coach that had a rival son, perhaps.
Oh, I can't. Yeah, I don't know the exact ins and outs of that, but basically,
Yeah.
I learned a valuable lesson that if you play for a team, do whatever you can to support that team and give them as much help as you could. Although, in the end, obviously my mountain bike career took off.
Yep.
And then, yeah, at the time, I felt bad about that, and they let me know it by you play basketball, but you're on the bench.
Yeah.
So now you're not playing basketball.
Apart from the Jets, who was our rep team, we used to play in another basketball competition, and I remember your team's name. Can you remember that?
Record the Nads.
The Nads. Go Nads.
There's a lot of jokes about it because like there is another Nads out there. Wasn't there like there was a dog called Nads, a greyhound called Nads? And
perhaps, yeah.
yeah, but
this might have been where you got the name from.
Yeah, it was a totally unrelated sport, if you want to call dog racing a sport, which it is. That's kind of a segue to our next little conversation there. But yeah, it was always like, go Nads, go Nads, go Nads. So, and we all know what they are. So, all jokes aside, the Nads did pretty well in basketball. We did pretty well.
Yep.
It was pretty entertaining times, and great friends and great camaraderie. And yeah, I mean, like, it didn't even matter. I mean, like, we didn't really do like the Nads. We actually won some local stuff, but like when we played for the Jets, like our Hawkesbury team, we didn't have many good results, but we did still beat some pretty good teams, I must admit.
I think there was some at that time. Everybody was playing basketball. Basketball was the popular sport. Michael Jordan was the big player. Everyone wanted to be Jordan.
Yeah, that's it.
Everybody wanted to play basketball, so anybody who had any sort of skill was in there.
Yeah, that's it.
And I think competition was tight.
Yeah, like if you really wanted to have a pair of Air Jordans, but you didn't because you'd go to school and get rolled for them. It's like this prized possession. I don't want these. I don't want these.
You can have.
I don't want these shoes. I don't want them.
Come on, Nate. You're a big boy. You could have handled yourself there. Sure.
Yeah, you're up against 5 guys that want your shoes.
All right, maybe you're out now.
I never had a pair of Jordans. I never had a pair of Jordans.
I never did either. My brother did. My brother got a pair. And
he did have a pair until he was rolled for them.
No, he could handle himself. So maybe that was a lesson from my mum. Yeah, I'm not buying them because you'll get rolled.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe this has something to do with it, but like both of us were doing well at athletics, and so we used to get athletic shoes. We didn't get them stolen because we were good at running.
That's right.
Just running from the competition. The competition that didn't necessarily. There was no stopwatch going. It was that you were running to keep your shoes.
Exactly. I'm a great fighter, mate. I won my last fight by 100 meters.
That's it.
So that brings us to also our namesake, but Stampy and Ranga, our greyhound.
That's right. Yeah, our competitive Stampy and Ranga. Tell us about how we obtained our greyhound Stampy and Ranga.
Well, a former guest of ours, Luke, his cousin was a greyhound trainer and a good friend of mine at the time, and I think we just said how about we get a greyhound, Just one of those sort of spur of the moment decisions, I suppose. And anyway, we found a greyhound, purchased it, and put it into action.
Exactly. I mean, like with my nickname Stampy and then Ranga as in redhead, you know, I mean, like you just had the nickname, and so just our dog's name was Stampy and Ranga. I think a lot of names out there you can, yeah, I mean, like some people put their company names in there and stuff like that, like just to promote and do all sorts of funny stuff. But there are really no rules, I don't think, anyway. But yeah, Stampy and Ranga did well, and he ended up winning, didn't he? He won a race.
No, he didn't win.
You could have lied. And said
No,
that.
so his first race was at Lithgow, and I went up there for it. I think you were living in the Gold Coast at the time, so
yeah,
I drove up there with the trainer, and we watched the race, and I think it was race 8, so we had to be there for most of the day, and the anticipation, you know, it was just it was alive, you know. Our greyhound's first race, and what's going to happen, you know.
Yeah,
And
he got a place,
he'd been racing at a trial track too, and racing good times apparently. So I had high hopes. I'm not sure about yourself, but
he was going to win. He was going to win.
He was. So anyway, I got right up on the edge of the track for the start. And he took off. He got hit by another dog and basically just jogged around the track, and got to the end last by about 30 places or something, and I'm just like, Nathan, guess what? He come last. Just what are we going to do? And the trainer said, all right, no.
Massive hopes.
Just and diminished our hopes in
our dog's career. And didn't our trainer say, well, it's days are probably fairly limited?
Not at that stage. No, he said it's his first race. He's not an aggressive dog. He just needs a bit of work. I'll put the work into him. Things are looking good for the next race. So, second race comes up. And do you remember the second race? Do you remember what happened there?
Oh, it's just going back a ways. I wouldn't say I remember it, but what happened, Daniel?
So, he raced at Dapto, which is a suburb down south of Sydney.
The Dapto.
So I went down there.
Yeah.
I specifically remembered I went to the Riverston RSL to watch the race.
You went to Riverston RSL to watch the Dapto dogs. It's not from Western Sydney, are you, Daniel?
That's right. I am from Western. Anyhow, so I sat there and watched it. He runs second.
That's right. Yes.
And we're like,
yeah, I remember now. I forgot, but so you had some money on him?
I did. I can't remember how much I won. I didn't put a lot on him because obviously we came last time. So, and I'm not a big gambler.
Yeah. So reality.
I was cautious with my bets. Anyhow, he came second. I remember I was on the phone to you, and you were at your ex-partner's family's home, and the whole family were cheering, and he's come second, and yeah. Anyway, race 3. We're waiting for race 3. So I think that was at Dapto as well. And anyway, I didn't go to Dapto because it was a fair way away, but I think again I watched it on TV, and last again.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that last place. That was his final race, actually, wasn't it?
No, he had 2 more.
Did he? Oh,
2 more races. Yeah, second last and last. So.
I shouldn't have.
So at that stage, yeah, I think the trainer said, he's no good. Let's get rid of him. And that became the end of our greyhound owning days. So
yeah, I mean, it was fun for a little while there, and like a lot of people, and ahh themselves about dog racing. Actually, all animal sports in general they do. But yeah, we had a good time, and he got fed well, and it was a great little dog. But yeah, if you can't race, then he just become family dog after that.
That's right. He became an adopted greyhound. So, but it was fun. Just having your own dog. I suppose it was a lead up. Every young guy wants has that aspiration of having a racehorse. And betting on your racehorse and things like that. But I suppose this is the next affordable thing is having a greyhound, isn't it?
I know. I mean, I don't know how like some people say they get into horse racing and they pay nothing for the horse, but Well, I don't know, man. I mean, taking care of those animals is just
That's right. No,
that's a
it
feat
costs
in
a lot to
itself.
feed and train, and yeah, it's good times. But yeah,
It's absolutely crazy. I mean, this is a little. It's just reminded me of a time. I mean, like we do have a competitive nature. So like we used to, after an evening at an establishment, we found these Sulo bins to be a rather accommodating way to have a sport. And going down a highway which was nearby where we grew up in Carrollton Heights was the ultimate competitive way to satisfy one needs for not only a
that's right.
need for speed but also victory as well.
Sulo bin racing.
Sulo bin racing.
Yeah, this could take off. Should I talk to my manager?
So I think a lot of the younger generation, actually older generation, I'll rephrase that this was a thing for a while, very dangerous and foolish thing to
Yep.
do.
Don't try this at home.
Yeah, definitely do not do this, guys and girls at home. It's like you've got your Sula bin there, and it actually goes quite fast down a hill, and so yeah, it's a bad idea, but we did it,
Yep.
and so we knew it was going to happen, but those things actually went quite quick, and so
Yeah.
like the potential for some injuries is actually quite high, and
Yeah.
the bins they don't last that long. I mean, I don't know if anyone's rubbed not only like a bit of plastic on a hot asphalt road, but it wears down quite quickly, and it's a very, very silly thing to do. But that's one of the things that we used to do when we were kids.
And it builds up speed very quickly too, especially when
Yeah.
it's a, 25, 30-degree incline.
Yeah, and I mean, like you've got steering, but it only depends if there was any wind around it or you blow you in a certain direction. But there was no steering whatsoever. I mean,
No.
like
I
there's a
remember
couple
I
of
remember that early morning after a big night at a local establishment, and I'm pretty sure I think I bailed pretty quickly after the bin started picking up speed. But I think I got a few scratches on the arm, and
very not. It's not a good idea at all. Like I even tried to steer the thing by putting your feet on the wheels to try and guide it in a certain way.
yeah.
No, that just burned my shoe off.
I remember laying down on top of the bin.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
position.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Aiming for an aerodynamic position,
Yep.
and then you lay down on your Sula bin and go down one of the steepest hills
Yep.
in the Blue Mountains. Yeah.
Exactly.
It wasn't very well thought through. Was not very well thought through at all. And for guys and girls listening to that, there's a very foolish thing to do, and just don't do that. So you can learn from our mistakes.
That's right. So yeah. What how did what's been your biggest highlight in your career so far, do you think?
Racing bikes.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I've had several highlights, that's for sure. I mean, like just like racing overseas and becoming a pro was like just a feat in itself, I mean, like when you first went over there, our friend Mal Dalton, who could potentially be listening, yeah, he basically said, look, why don't we stop in Big Bear, California on the way home? And then I borrowed a bike it was actually a friend's bike. I wasn't even really that aware of it at the time, but yeah, I borrowed a bike and then won a race there. It was literally on a weekend, on any weekend, and
Yeah.
ended up doing quite well. And then, yeah, everything just snowballed from there. So just you never know what is going to happen with sport, especially at elite levels of sport. And so the guys that I borrowed the bike off, the Crank team there, and yeah, they ended up putting us on in the next season. So
Yep.
it was just that one race and that one decision to stop in Southern California on the way home, that snowballed into a career that still carries on today with me.
Yeah. Yep. I remember attending one of your races. It was at down in Canberra at Mount Stromlo. Do you remember
Yeah.
this race?
Yeah, I think that was a World Cup, was it? World Cup race?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, World Cup race, and like I remember I went home during that season because I wasn't doing well, and I basically cracked it and was like, look, I need to go back to the drawing board. And then I went home and trained my ring out. And yeah, it was a great, like I wanted to do really well in my home country because like as you probably understand, like racing World Cup, a lot of it is all around the world.
Yeah.
So this was like the one race that I had there, and like we had a little army of fans down there, which was great. And so yeah,
I congregated the Rennie's Army. Do you remember the
Rennie's
Rennie's Army?
Army. And like I heard about Rennie's Army, and then I didn't really know much about it. But then coming down the track, and then in the final, I just heard all these people go absolutely berserk. And like, sure enough, it was a home country, but majority of the idiots there were you guys, as Rennie's Army, just like all cheering me on. And I didn't realize how many guys and girls were actually in Rennie's Army until after, because like when you have a race, like a big race like that, you don't really see a lot of the public like through your practice periods and some media stuff, and obviously during race time you don't really see a lot of people, you don't. So but yeah, it was fantastic to see. Like we will try and find a photo, but I'm not sure if there's
I've still got the Rennie's Army shirt. I'll pull that out. Yeah.
Yeah,
put
cool.
that in for but yeah, I remember getting 50 shirts made, handed them out to all our friends, said, we're going to watch Rennie's race. We're going to cheer him on. He's home. Let's do it. And I remember my wife, we're on the finish line on the last day on the final, and you were coming down the race, and there were some competitors across the track, and they had a chainsaw with no bar on it. So
yeah.
Vroom, vroom, vroom. And my wife got a little bit drunk that day, and she ended up yelling banter back at them, and they were yelling banter back at us. And I remember pretty vividly, next minute, this rubber fist, a sexual adult toy, comes throwing up.
Was thrown. So your wife was causing a fuss at a mountain bike race, and how to deal with that?
So we threw it back, and yeah, I remember my wife started giving them the finger and carrying on and all this sort of stuff, and we started a chant: "Mad wife, mad wife, mad wife, mad wife." And it was actually pretty funny on the way home that afternoon. We were driving home. I was driving, and I don't know, an hour into the journey, could we pull over? And pulled over. She started having a bit of a vomit on the side of the road, and someone from the track drove past and goes, "Mad wife, mad
wife." The legacy was living on long after the race. There's someone driving home.
They saw her hanging out the window. Mad wife.
They're full celebrity. Like they don't. I competed in the race and I get nothing on the way home, but your wife gets mad wife.
Anyone who's listening remembers that day and remembers mad wife, send us a shout out.
Oh, that's pretty good. I mean, we've got to write a book about that. Speaking about books, Daniel, I mean, like,
yeah,
like some people, well, our listeners are probably unaware, but our friend Ambrose here, Ranga, he one of his first jobs that he had was a courtesy bus driver, and so then you went on to write a few things down for us. Can you tell us about that?
I did, yeah. I had some pretty crazy stories of driving drunk people home at the end of the night. So,
what was your book called again, Daniel?
Confessions of a Courtesy Bus Driver.
There you go.
I think we briefly spoke about this in a past podcast, but I don't think I gave any details. So, probably one of the scariest times I've ever been in was during one of these drives home, and there was a big Irish guy, and it was his bucks party. All his mates brought him to the pub, and he got pretty lit. He was on his way, and he wanted to go to Richmond, which is a local suburb away from the pub. A little bit more is happening in that town than it was in this town. So
a little bit
he
more.
wanted to go there, but his friends was like, "No, we're going home. We're going home. You're done." And this guy was probably 6'6", big Irish guy. And anyway, we devised this plan to get him into the bus, just take him home, and hopefully just pass out on the way home. We drop him home, wake up in the morning, all's great. But halfway home, he's realised we're not going towards Richmond. So I'm driving. He's got 8 mates in the back in the bus, and anyhow, he gets up and starts yelling at me from behind my seat. turn this effing bus around. I'm gonna fucking bash you if you don't fucking know. And I'm, what do I do? Like, I've got all these people's lives in my hand. What do I do? And anyway, he proceeds to start punching the windows out of the bus. So
Right.
and he tells me to pull the bus over. So I'm like, yes, sir. All right. I pull over. Tells me to get out of the bus. He's going to belt the shit out of me. He opens the sliding door, gets out of the bus, and I'm like, what am I going to do? Oh, shit, he's out of the bus. All right. And I drive off. And all his mates are like, mate, you can't leave him there. You got to go pick him up. I said, why should I pick him up? He just threatened to bash me. And where were you, you gutless bastards?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So anyway, 2 days later, he came back in when I was working at the pub, and and he actually apologized, which is a great thing. So I think we all have times on,
do you know how we got home at all?
I guess he walked home, but he wasn't far, apparently. He was only about 3 or 4 kilometers from home. So
He's fine then.
yeah, he'll be right. But yeah, another time I picked an old guy up and his girlfriend, and he was actually married. So anyway, I just started taking him towards his home, and he's pulling this old girl's boobs out and like sucking on this girl's boobs on the way home, and he's going, cop a look at this, and I'm like, mate, I don't want to see. And then he started offering me $50 to not tell his wife, and
oh no,
it's another time.
So you took his $50?
I took his $50, mate. $50 is $50.
Don't tell my wife. It's like, that was the first thing you were going to say as well, wasn't it?
That
like,
was.
Fucking tits in here, boy.
So another time the bus caught on fire. Had to jump out of that real quick.
Far out.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember that. Vaguely, yeah. Like, so you're just literally driving along, and I can only imagine that a courtesy bus doesn't really have the best maintenance record with it.
Not this bus. The owner
I guess
of the pub
it's supposed to, but yeah.
It's supposed to. The owner of this pub is a bricklayer, and he had a big team of bricklayers, and bricklayers are known for not having licenses for not for drinking and whatnot. But the courtesy bus doubled as a bricklayer van in the morning during the day. So quite often patrons would get in from the pub, and there'd be a pile of sand and 30 or 40 bricks in the back. And they'd be like, why is there sand and bricks in the courtesy bus? And I'd have to explain why. But
This is my work vehicle.
It's the owner of the pub's work vehicle. So that lighten the situation sometimes. So
right, it's a van, isn't it? So it's multi-purpose.
It is, yeah. But it's amazing what people tell you when you're just the driver. You're driving people home at night, and they've had way too much to drink. They share way too much, and but times are good. Sometimes they're good. Other times, as I've just let you know, they're not good. So
no, I can only imagine. I mean, that's pretty much a job that I would never really consider doing, to be honest. Like, you get all sorts, absolutely all sorts, which, people are generally pretty good, but like after you get a bit of a skinful in there, then some sort of crazy demon comes out. It does.
Yeah. Some people can be pretty dangerous on the grog. So
yeah.
But yeah.
No, it's definitely not the best. Definitely not the best at all. So, well, yeah, I mean, like that gives us a pretty good insight of who we are and what we're all about. And so we're looking forward to some future podcasts as well. So, do you have any more questions for us, just to enlighten us at all on who we are, Daniel? Mr. Ranga?
I was going to implement this with our future podcast. I want to add sort of 3 questions to our future guests, and how about I run them by you?
Yeah, run them by us. Yeah.
Okay. First one: favorite Metallica song.
Yeah. Favorite Metallica song? Mine.
Yeah. That's the question. Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Everyone says Enter Sandman, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But probably Enter Sandman. I don't know.
We'll run with that. Yeah.
Yeah, right with that.
Second question. When cooking a steak, do you flip once or do you flip continuously until it's cooked?
Daniel, you know the answer to this one. You
I
flip
do know
once
the answer
or
to this
you
one.
leave.
That's saying it
Secondary
politely.
flip means that you are no longer at a barbecue. You are in a car driving away from a barbecue. One flip, that's it.
That's it. Exactly.
One flip.
Yep, only one.
Multiple flippers. I'm sorry, mate, but you're gonna have to leave.
We can't be friends. We can't be friends.
No, we were friends. Yeah.
And
I invite you, you insult us. You know where your car is.
take your shit and go.
Yeah. Take your flipping attitude out of here.
And third one, a bit more serious. Thoughts on global warming?
Global warming is it's a crazy thing to think about, and it's a crazy thing to think that it is actually happening. I mean, a lot of times when you hear about these sort of things in media and all that, and like our listeners probably understand that media stuff is very vague and sometimes is to get a point across, which is not necessarily true. And but global warming is an actual thing, and although it is a slow process, there are certain parts of the world which are being affected by it a lot faster than others.
Yep.
I mean, it's not only just due to humans, also just these changing weather patterns. I mean, humans are changing that. You know, with what we take out of the ground, what we burn, what we don't burn, what we try and get rid of, and it is actually happening. I mean, like as far as a astronomical point of view there, I mean, like everything is changing, things are slowing down, things are speeding up. So change is happening.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just have to be mindful. As what I think, I mean, like just being mindful. I mean, us of a little bit of older generation, like you become pretty savvy with how you treat our world, and you just have to be mindful of that because these things are happening. And the unfortunate thing is that there's very little we can do to stop it. But if we all do our part, then we can try our very best to slow this process down, because we're going to end up with a place that is like perhaps not in our lifetimes, but in future lifetimes, it's going to be pretty difficult to get around. So yeah, just do everything we can to preserve it for our children and their children, and yeah, just do whatever you can, and do a bit of research, you know. But it's not that hard to be cleanly and put things in the bin and try and recycle as much as you possibly can. And yeah, just keep an eye out for that stuff. That's for sure.
Good answer. Good answer. All right, Nathan. It's been great, great talking with you today.
Yeah, well, good to get to know you again, Daniel.
Yes.
After 35 years or more, whatever it is. But
I thought I knew you. I thought I knew you.
The thing is, I already know everything and more about you. But no, that's good. Thanks a lot for having this chat, and to our viewers at home there. I mean, thanks for tuning in. And yeah, that's just a little bit more insight about us and what we're all about and where we come from. And yeah, we look forward to having future guests as well. We've got a few lined up.
Yep.
So we're looking forward to that as well.
Yeah. Check out our socials. We've plenty going on there. And,
yeah, and you also have the chance to subscribe to our channel as well. So in that being said, you will get a bit of a notification here and there of what's coming up. And so tune in with us, and yeah, enjoy your time. We are going to keep them around this length of time. So but yeah, if you want to tune in, then that's fine. And
yeah,
get the guys and girls around and have a listen and a yarn with us. It'd be great.
Yeah. Good talking, Nathan.
All right, good chatting to you too.
See you next time.
All right, see you, mate.
See ya.